So our topic for today is simultaneous equations. So in this case, simultaneous equations are a pair, because they're two, a pair of equations in which the variables provided have to be equal. So in this case, the variables are x and y. So the x in the first equation has to be equal to the x in the second equation, and the y in the first equation has to be equal to the y in the second equation. There's a reason why I'm looking at the positive and negative signs, or plus and minus signs. So in this video, we'll focus on the elimination method. So the elimination method, in summary, is a method in which you find a variable in the two equations that you would want to eliminate, hence the name elimination method. So in this case, let's take our variables of y. It's important and essential to include the plus and minus signs of the equation, which we'll come to briefly. So in this case, we're looking at the y variables in both equations as a variable we would want to eliminate. So essentially, you can either subtract or add the equations. It's always subtraction or addition when it comes to simultaneous equations. So let's try subtracting them. When you try subtracting them, you would see that this is plus y subtracted by negative y. It's essential to include the negative when you're doing this, the negative y, which won't equate to 0. We need them to equate to 0 in order to eliminate them. So negative multiplied by negative would be equal to y plus y. This is 2y. It does not eliminate our y. However, if we add them, it will be positive y plus negative y, and a positive multiplied by negative would be a negative, which would be y minus y, which is equal to 0. It's equal to 0, and once it's equal to 0, it's no longer part of the new equation we would form after adding or subtracting. It's equal to 0, hence it's eliminated. So it's essential for you to pay attention to the positive and the negative signs that come before y, especially if you're the second part of the equation, hence the positive or the negative signs fall exactly before the y. Essentially, there's also a small positive sign in front of x and a small positive sign in front of the second x, but it's not put in normal maths language or maths equations because it takes up too much space and time, or for some other reasons. So whenever you don't see a sign in front of any variable, even for 3 and 1, just assume it's positive. Okay, so let's continue. So in this case, we saw that adding it would eliminate our variable. So when you're adding it, you add the equations vertically, meaning it will be x plus x, and x plus x will be equal to 2x, and positive y plus negative y would be eliminated, so it will be plus 0. This positive 3 plus positive 1 will be equal to 4. So 2x will be equal to 4, and then divided by 2 on both sides, by 2 1 and by 2 2, x would be equal to 2. So now we found our first variable, which is 2. To find our second variable, we will bring x into any equation that's given to us. So in this case, there are two equations. We can bring x into the first equation or x into the second equation. Now, usually, I prefer to use the first equation. So in this case, we'll use the first equation. So we'll write it down first. let me just make a gap over here so you don't get confused. So x plus y would be equal to 3. So in this case, we're going to substitute x, and x is 2. So I'll bring this 2 over here. So x will be substituted by 2. So it'll be 2 plus y, that's equal to 3. And if you bring 2 to the other side, because we want to make y, we want to find y, so we want y on one side of the equation and the rest of the variables, or the rest of the numbers on the other side of the equation, y will be equal to 3 minus 2. And the reason it's negative over here is because, remember, there are small positives or small plus signs. This plus sign becomes a minus sign once it changes sides of the equation. So it becomes 3 minus 2. And 3 minus 2 would be equal to 1. Hence your answers are x is equal to 2 and y is equal to 1.